This cycle, almost everyone is mistaken on cryptocurrency. Everybody has a different opinion about what will happen, yet practically everyone is still obsessed with how this time is different. Something like 2021 or 2017 and 2018 won't occur. And practically everyone is mistaken here, isn't that right? Things are beginning to shift in the crypto space, I understand. I am aware that rules are in place presently. As you are aware, the government is starting to embrace cryptocurrency. At the same time, institutional players are beginning to enter the market with ETFs and even embrace some of these cryptocurrency networks, As an illustration, JP Morgan adopted the base for its JPMD. Although it is a stable coin, it is effectively tokenized reserves. The coin is categorized as stable. But witnessing all of these events is undoubtedly insane. Additionally, it demonstrates how the crypto environment is evolving. But is the cycle itself evolving? I don't think so. At this point, practically everyone is kind of repeating the same mistake they made back in 2021, when they believed that the cycle was entirely different because institutional adoption had already begun. They believed that, okay, well, it would lead to mass adoption from institutional players and alter the way the cycle, works, and that we would simply keep going and enter a super cycle for crypto, this, that, whatever. At this stage of the cycle, pushing that narrative is quite risky. I want to review several things. First things first, let's get started quickly with the market itself. Overall, we do observe some good increases on a daily basis. In fact, some of these vintage coins have increased by more than 10%. The CFX shows that some of them are hitting 100%. However, the past week has been amazing all around. It has been a fantastic month. Listen, practically everything is just a sea of green on any time frame, even in the past year. And XRP is still shining brightly. XRP is now trading at about $3.50, whereas Bitcoin is trading at over 120,000. Ethereum, however, is also nearly at 3,800. 300 was tapped earlier today, still doing better than Bitcoin. This is precisely what we were hoping to see. However, if we also take a look at some of these other cryptocurrencies, we're seeing a good increase all around. This is the desired outcome. When Bitcoin is being a bit dull like it is at the moment, we want to see altcoins really pick up steam and start rallying against it. In fact, it has only increased by 0.3% today and over the previous 7 days. Even while everything is still pumping, it is actually down 1.2%. This is how the market as a whole appears. To make sure everything is current, let me refresh it. 3.92 trillion is the cryptocurrency market capitalization. It recently reached roughly 4 trillion. What we're really examining here, however, is that while altcoin season is at 53 out of 100, anxiety and greed have been declining. This is due to the fact that if we look at the top 500 gainers and losers over the last 30 days, we can see some of these gains. This is crazy. Can actually observe. Some of these ancient coins are going crazy. In the past 30 days, the majority of these have increased by 100%. H4 is up almost 92%. XLM is up nearly 98%. Solo is up more than 100%, and Tezos is up more than 100%. No, even though these projects are among the top 100 in the last 30 days, they are genuine and incredibly aggressive. Here, the improvements are evident on all fronts. XDC, Algo, Curva, and XRP are all operational. At this stage of the market, we want to see precisely this kind of price activity. Now, where are we at this moment? We are currently on phase 2. Ethereum is beginning to take center stage. Just to let you all know that right now is the best, I would like to swiftly cut the video short. It's time to log in and start using the free version of Discord. For $99.99, you're not only receiving access to my updates, though I realize that seems like a lot of money. Additionally, you will have access to tokenizer updates and a comprehensive team of people that will support you at every stage of the cycle. It has a great deal of updates, access to my portfolio, weekly and mid-weekly market breakdowns, transaction and chart updates, and a plethora of other information. What are you all waiting for then? Sign up for the free Discord channel below. If you would like to receive those unique updates, you can also sign up for the premium area. Let's get back to the video now. Several well-known figures are now speculating that Ethereum may reach some very important heights at the end of this month and possibly before the year is over. This is how Ethereum's all-time chart now appears. The resistance from the October and November highs, as well as the January and December highs and even the March 2024 highs, is being challenged. We would be challenging those all-time highs from 2024 highs is being challenged. We would be challenging those all-time highs from 2021. If we could surpass this, clear $4,000 and formally break out. How high do we go once we start price discovery is the question. First off, Ethereum is currently one of the most widely used networks for tokenized assets like stablecoins and DeFi. At the moment, the network is incredibly successful. Following Ethereum and its current level of rise, it is imperative to pay close attention to Ethereum at this time because the higher Ethereum rises, the more liquidity it creates for other cryptocurrencies. Therefore, we want to watch and we really want to applaud Ethereum as it begins to rise because we want to see it reach some very significant heights. This is Tom Lee's 2025 forecast, so if that's something we're considering, let's get over here. According to him, Ethereum will be worth $4,000 by the end of July and between $10,000 by the end of the year. Circle multiples and layer 1 use premiums serve as the foundation for this. Take a look at this. In the short run, our technical strategist Mark Newton believed that Ethereum would reach 4,000 by the end of the month, but I don't think that's where it peaks. As the second part of the year approaches, what price target do you have for ETH? Our Fundstrat pricing goals, I therefore take on multiple roles. I am the head of research at Fundstrat, in addition to being the chairman of BitMine. In reality, I hold a third position as Fundstrat Capital's CIO. Sean Farrell, however, is in charge of digital assets research at Fundstrat. Additionally, he has provided me with some loose targets. He believes that Ethereum is closer to 15,000 if we consider Circle and its free cash multiple, which is now at 130 times EBITDA. And that makes sense. This is the same reason software businesses receive greater multiples than retailers. Therefore, I believe that when you go into layer 1, you should apply a higher multiple to sort of imaginary usage. Higher multiples are applied to that business the further you are from the customer and the more pure the signal. Therefore, I believe that in the short run, our technical strategist Mark Newton believed that Ethereum would reach 4,000 before the month is over, but that isn't where it peaks. That's the first target, he simply believes. After that, I believe that if Sean Farrell's calculations are accurate, then 10 to 15,000 also makes logical. Toward the year's end, yes, the end of the year could come sooner rather than later. It truly depends, you know. However, that would not be the end of the story, and it's roughly 4 months away if we're considering that. All right, 4 months remain till the end of the year. Ethereum is reaching 10 to 15K. All right, if this occurs, and it certainly could, by the way, as previously stated, Ethereum has seen a 20x increase in tokenized RWAs since January 2024. Some of the biggest businesses in the market are really driving this growth, which is crazy. For instance, BlackRock, VanEck, Apollo, Franklin Templeton, or any other wisdom tree. Furthermore, with over 100, additionally, 7.2 billion of the 13.7 billion RWA on these public networks are tokenized. Ethereum is really optimistic. You know, Maxi, I don't really care that much about Ethereum, despite the fact that I'm not a member. I've been saying that for the past few weeks and months. I am aware that Ethereum is currently the altcoin boat. And I do think that this is going to be a significant boost for old currencies once we enter this phase 2, which I think we are in. And we get that phase overlap where old coins are starting to really pump up in a massive degree, which they're starting to move right now. Furthermore, 10 to 15,000 is a substantial amount of liquidity for Ethereum to truly produce. We have already missed the first key target here, which was 61.9%, at a time when Bitcoin dominance is declining significantly. Right now, we're at roughly 61%. This isn't the bottom, in my opinion. I believe that we are losing ground on Bitcoin, and Ethereum may begin to take up that position. As I said before, Ethereum is currently surpassing that critical goal in relation to the Bitcoin pair. We're beginning to rise beyond it now, and I absolutely believe that this will cause Ethereum to make a significant rash move. As of right now, the Ethereum USD chart is basically kind of bouncing about. We're at 30 minutes before 800. You know, all of the significant resistance from 2024 and even 25 is at this $4,100 level. And the next destination would be all-time highs if we could overcome this. Therefore, I do believe Tom Lee is right in this case. And given that Ethereum's current market capitalization is about $453 or $454 billion compared to Bitcoin's $2.4 trillion, I don't think those numbers are too outrageous for Ethereum to reach. Yes, those are some quite cautious levels in my opinion. What about XRP if we're considering how high Ethereum can go? On the 3-day chart, XRP appears to be brewing against the 3 to 50